Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so you sent over this really fascinating stack of sources, and they kind of challenge how we usually think about longevity, don't they?
They really do. I mean, we're so used to focusing on complex lab results, right? Cholesterol,
Mm.
glucose, all that stuff.
Yeah, usual suspects.
Exactly. But our mission today really is to look at these surprisingly simple um, physical metrics, things you can literally measure with a stopwatch sometimes.
We're just watching someone move.
Right. And yet they seem to be incredibly powerful predictors of, well, mortality risk, specific ones.
It's fascinating because we get so caught up in disease specifics, but maybe the real signs of a long life are like basic functional tests you could do right now.
That's the core idea. These low-tech functional tests are remarkably effective. It's about resilience, maybe, more than just avoiding disease, how fast you walk, how easily you stand up. Basic stuff.
All right, let's dive into that. Speed seems like a good place to start.
Hmm.
And one study framed it pretty dramatically, asking how fast the Grim Reaper walks.
Yeah, that one caught my eye, too. It's great research, but with a touch of dark humor, you know?
Definitely gets your attention.
It was the Sampiece study Conquered Health and Aging in Men project, focused on older guys. And they used some clever statistics, the Uden index, basically to find the walking speed that best predicted who wouldn't make it through the study period.
So they calculated the Grim Reaper's preferred pace.
Essentially, yes, they nailed it down.
Okay, I have to ask, what was the number? The ominous pace.
It came out as 0.82 meters per second.
0.82.
Yeah.
What's that in, like normal speeds?
Roughly 2 miles per hour, maybe a bit less.
2 miles an hour. Wow.
And the key finding was pretty stark. Older men walking faster than that speed, just slightly faster, were 1.23 times less likely to die during the follow-up.
Just 1.23 times.
Yeah.
That feels significant for such a small difference in how fast you're moving.
It really is. It suggests that even a subtle decline in your natural walk pace is a powerful signal.
So 2 miles per hour. Help me picture that. Is that like a slow stroll or?
It's definitely slow. A noticeably deliberate pace. You're likely not pushing your cardiovascular system much at all. It points to a potential vulnerability in the whole system.
Okay.
But here's the really hopeful part. They also looked at the upper threshold, the speed where essentially the Grim Reaper couldn't catch anyone.
The safe zone speed.
Exactly. The speed above which no men in the study died, according to their model.
And that was?
That was 1.36 meters per second, which is roughly 3 miles per hour.
3 miles per hour. Okay, that feels more like a purposeful walk.
Right. If you can comfortably and consistently move faster than 3 miles per hour, your mortality risk seems to drop off dramatically. It's just a really robust, objective marker of overall health, it seems.
Okay, so walking speed is a big one. If we kick it up a notch, what about running? The benefits there looked almost exponential in the sources.
Yeah, running came across as incredibly efficient for longevity. We're talking a 25% to 40% reduced risk of premature death overall.
25 to 40%. That's huge.
Yeah. And it translates directly into life expectancy. On average, runners seem to gain about 3 extra years compared to sedentary folks.
3 years is not insignificant.
Not at all. And when you look at why, it's even more impressive.
Yeah.
Like 45% to 70% lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease.
Wow.
And 30% to 50% lower risk from cancer-related deaths. It hits the big ones hard.
The efficiency calculation was the part that really blew my mind, though. The idea that the time spent running pays back more time.
Oh, yeah, the 1-to-7 ratio.
Explain that.
Basically, the research suggests that for every hour you spend running, you get about 7 additional hours of life expectancy back.
7 hours back for 1 hour invested.
That's the net benefit, yeah. A 1-to-7 running to longevity ratio. It's an incredible return on investment, time-wise.
So from a public health angle, running isn't just a hobby, it's a major preventative strategy.
It really should be seen that way. One analysis actually pinned running as responsible for reducing all-cause mortality by 16% in the population studied.
16%.
And a quarter, 25% of the reduction in cardiovascular deaths. That puts it on par with managing high blood pressure.
Wow.
And in that context, potentially more impactful as a preventative factor than tackling general overweight or obesity or even smoking, which is kind of wild when you think about it.
That is wild. It really reframes its importance. But, okay, the inevitable question. Can you overdo it? Is there a point of diminishing returns or even harm?
That's always the concern, isn't it? The studies did suggest a kind of plateau for the maximal longevity benefit,
Okay.
around 4.5 hours per week or maybe running up to 6 times a week. Somewhere in that zone seemed to be the sweet spot for the biggest gains.
But what happens after that? Does it become harmful?
That's the crucial point. They didn't find evidence of harm. Even people running much more than that didn't seem to have a higher mortality risk than sedentary people. It wasn't like the benefits reversed.
So not harmful, just
Mhm.
less additional benefit.
Exactly. It seems to be diminishing returns. The biological mechanisms reducing inflammation, improving heart health, that sort of thing, they seem to get the biggest boost up to that point.
Right.
After that, you're still getting health benefits, obviously, but maybe the specific longevity extending effects don't keep stacking up at the same rate. Your body gets the main message efficiently.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've covered speed walking and running showing cardiovascular resilience. What about just raw strength, foundational muscle function? You highlighted hand grip strength, HGS.
Yes, HGS is fascinating. It's simple, just squeezing a device, but it's a surprisingly powerful predictor.
How powerful?
Well, one study used machine learning, a random forest model, to rank predictors of all-cause mortality, and HGS came in fifth.
Fifth.
Ahead of what? Ahead of things we usually focus on, like BMI, body mass index, and even systolic blood pressure.
Hang on, how can squeezing something tell you more than blood pressure or BMI?
It's thought to be a really good proxy for your overall skeletal muscle health and quality. Not just mass, like BMI, but actual function. And muscle health is critical for metabolism, mobility, avoiding frailty.
You reflect the whole system, maybe.
That's the idea. The machine learning model basically found that knowing someone's HGS added significant predictive power on top of the traditional risk scores. Low HGS was linked to a 1.77 times higher risk of dying from any cause.
Almost double the risk.
Yeah, it picks up something the other metrics miss.
Okay, so what are the actual numbers? What counts as low grip strength? We need actionable thresholds here.
Right. There's a bit of variation. For the U.S. data, based on large representative samples, low HGS was generally defined as under 39 kilograms for men.
Okay, under 39 kilograms for men.
And under 22 kilograms for women.
Under 22 kilograms for women.
But interestingly, the machine learning thresholds derived from a Chinese cohort were a bit lower, under 32 kilograms for men and under 19 kilograms for women in that specific group.
Why the difference? Is it just population physique or something else?
Probably mostly population differences, average build, lifestyle, genetics might play a role, but also how the model optimizes the cutoff for that particular data set.
Right.
The key thing for your listening is if your grip strength is near or below those lower ends, especially the US numbers, like, say, 35 kilograms for a man.
That's a warning sign.
Exactly. It strongly suggests you'd benefit from focusing on strength training. It's a clear signal.
Okay, grip strength is one measure. Now, what about that test that sounds deceptively simple but probably isn't? The sitting rising test, the SRT?
Yes, the SRT. It looks easy on paper, but it really tests a lot simultaneously.
Explain how it works.
Super simple procedure. You start standing, you sit down on the floor, and then you stand back up. The goal is to use the least amount of support possible.
Yeah.
You start with a perfect score of 10 points, 5 for sitting down smoothly, 5 for getting back up smoothly.
And deductions.
You lose 1 point every time you use a hand, or your knee, or forearm, or even the side of your lid for support, or if you brace a hand on your own knee.
Wow. Strict scoring.
Yeah, and you even lose half a point just for being unsteady or losing balance during the movement.
I can see how that demands a lot. Mobility, core strength, balance, leg strength.
It really does. It's a fantastic indicator of overall functional capability. Think about trying to get up off the floor without using your hands. It requires a certain level of fitness and coordination.
So what did a poor score predict in the studies?
The results are pretty dramatic. In the main study looking at this, people aged 51 to 80 who scored really low, like between 0 and 3 points.
Yeah.
They were 5 to 6 times more likely to die within the study period, about 6 years, compared to people who scored high, like 8 to 10 points.
5 to 6 times, just based on how easily you can stand up.
It captures something holistic about physical function that maybe speed or static strength alone don't quite get. It's about integrated movement.
Okay, that's compelling. Let's shift gears slightly and go sort of inside the body now. Cardiorespiratory fitness VO2 max.
Right, VO2 max, maximal oxygen uptake. It's really the gold standard measure of how well your heart, lungs, and muscles work together to use oxygen when you're pushing yourself hard.
The engine's efficiency, basically.
Exactly. And the link to mortality here is maybe the most striking. The risk gradient is incredibly steep.
How steep?
People with the lowest VO2 max values, the bottom group, had a four times increased risk of dying compared to those with the highest VO2 max.
4 times. That's huge. But the interesting part was how much benefit you get from even small improvements, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to be elite.
Absolutely not. That's the really encouraging finding. Just moving from the lowest fitness category, often labeled low, up to the next one, below average.
Just one step up.
That single step up was linked to a 50% reduction in all-cause mortality. Half the risk gone.
Wow. 50% just for getting out of the bottom tier.
And if you can make it 2 steps up from low to above average, the risk reduction climbs to 70%.
70%. That's an incredible return on improving your fitness.
It really is. Massive gains are possible without reaching peak athletic levels.
And the good news now is that tracking this isn't just for elite labs anymore, is it?
No, definitely not. Many smartwatches and fitness trackers now give you an estimated VO2 max.
How accurate are those estimates?
They're surprisingly decent, typically within about 3% to 8% error margin compared to lab tests, which is good enough for tracking trends,
For sure.
Yeah.
It makes this powerful metric much more accessible for everyday people to monitor and try to improve.
Exactly. It democratizes it.
Okay, let's circle back quickly to specific types of exercise. We saw some interesting findings suggesting it's not just about total volume. Some activities seem to have unique benefits.
Yeah, that was interesting. One U.S. study tried to control for the total amount of exercise people did and then looked at specific activities.
And what popped out?
After accounting for overall volume, stretching showed a unique association with lower mortality risk, about a 10% lower odds.
Stretching. Okay.
And even more striking was playing volleyball. That had nearly half the odds of mortality compared to baseline, even after controlling for total exercise, an odds ratio of 0.53.
Volleyball. That's specific. Why stretching in volleyball, do you think? More than, say, just lifting weights or cycling once volume is equal.
Well, for stretching, the thinking is it might relate to maintaining vascular health, artery flexibility, maybe improving microcirculation, things that are really important for aging well, separate from pure cardio or strength.
Okay, vascular health. Makes sense.
Yeah.
And volleyball.
Volleyball and maybe similar sports like tennis could be hitting a sweet spot. You get bursts of high intensity like jumping and spiking.
Right, anaerobic stuff.
Plus lots of lateral movement, rotation, reaching things that maintain mobility, kind of like what the SRT tests. And crucially, there's a social element.
Ah, the social factor.
Yeah.
Often overlooked.
Absolutely, which is a known powerful factor for longevity itself. So it's this mix: intensity, multiplanar movement, and social connection.
That fits with the other study you mentioned, the Danish one about tennis.
Exactly. That study suggested tennis players had the biggest gain in life expectancy compared to sedentary people, something like 9.7 years.
Almost a decade.
Yeah. Again, likely that combination of physical demands and the social aspect.
Okay, this is all tying together nicely. Let's connect these external things, speed, strength, movement, back to our internal state. Heart rate variability, HRV.
Right, HRV. It's a fantastic window into your autonomic nervous system, the ANS. That's the background system running your body, heart rate, digestion, breathing.
The automatic stuff.
Exactly. HRV basically measures how well that system can adapt. Specifically, the balance between your gas pedal, the sympathetic system, stress response, and your brake pedal, the parasympathetic system, rest and digest.
The sources got a bit technical with total power and spectral components like VLF, LF, HF. Can we simplify what HRV tells us about resilience and longevity?
Let's try. Think of 2 main things. First, total power or TP. Imagine TP as the overall size of your body's battery or reserve tank.
Okay, total capacity.
Right. High HRV, which often means a total power over, say, 1,500 milliseconds squared, suggests you have a big battery, lots of functional reserve, good resilience to stress.
So bigger battery is generally better.
Generally, yes. Now, the spectral stuff, VLF, LF, HF, tells us more about how that battery is being used and managed. Is the energy balanced?
Okay, so what's the ideal balance?
Ideally, you want good HF or high-frequency power. That reflects strong brake pedal activity you can calm down quickly. LF, or low frequency, is more linked to the gas pedal and blood pressure control. You want a good dynamic range, but critically, you want high total power overall and an efficient structure. It signals what some call hormesis or eustress.
Hormesis. That's the idea that a little bit of stress makes you stronger, right?
Exactly. Mild activation that leads to better adaptation. High, well-structured HRV suggests your system is primed for that, resilient.
And the flip side, what does low HRV signal?
That's the maladaptive state. Low HRV, maybe a total power below that 1,500 mark, suggests the battery is depleted. chronic exhaustion, maybe struggling with oxidative stress, low resistance to future challenges or illness.
So the internal state measured by HRV seems to mirror the external functional capacity we see with things like walking speed and the SRT.
That's the emerging picture, yeah.
Okay, let's try and synthesize this. For the person listening right now, what's the big takeaway from this deep dive?
I think the synthesis is incredibly powerful, actually. Longevity isn't just some abstract genetic thing we can't influence. It seems profoundly tied to these really measurable, often simple physical
Your
benchmarks.
speed, your strength, your basic movement pattern.
Exactly. How fast you walk, how strong your grip is, whether you can get up off the floor easily. These aren't just trivial things. They seem to be critical indicators.
And the beauty is, many of these metrics, HGS, walking speed, you're getting the SRT, they're cheap, easy to test, easy to screen for.
Right. They offer immense predictive value without needing complex labs. If someone scores a 2 on the SRT, you know immediately there's a functional deficit that needs addressing, regardless of their cholesterol level. It allows for really targeted intervention.
Which leads us to that final kind of provocative thought you raised.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, doesn't it? If something as simple as the Grim Reaper's walking speed or your ability to stand up predicts mortality so well,
Hmm.
what's the deep biological thread connecting them all?
Is it neuromuscular function? Cardiovascular health? Something deeper?
Could it be that all these physical tests are really just different outward expressions of the same underlying thing? Maybe it's the state of your autonomic nervous system,
Yeah.
your resilience to stress, your capacity for that hormetic adaptation, things reflected internally by HRV.
So the ability to stand up easily isn't just about muscles and joints. It's a sign that your whole internal regulatory system is working well.
That's the question to ponder. What if these simple physical tests we can do anywhere are actually our best, most accessible proxies for measuring that deep internal resilience that truly dictates longevity? Makes you think, right?